Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Star Wars Headlines here at Laughing Place. I'm Rebecca Mosley, co-founder of this website, and along with me today, as always, is Mike Celestino, our editorial content director for all things Star Wars, and his adorable kitten.
Yeah, my cat thought this would be a good time to be very needy all of a sudden. So
I love it. No, that's so wonderful. I always love it when I'll fess up here. One of my favorite podcasters is Taron Armstrong, and he does updates every morning during the Big Brother season, letting you know what happened. And he has this beautiful cat, Kellis, who often will join him as he's talking and will sit on his head or on his back. So I totally love it, and I'm loving it here too.
hi, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm in Orlando. This morning, on the anniversary of man setting foot on the moon, we actually had a commercial flight into space. Jeff Bezos and his brother, the legendary female aviator, 82-year-old. Oh man, her name's going to escape me around. I think Wally Peck, I think is the name, and I'm so bad it just flew out of my head in this moment. She was on board along with an 18-year-old, and just so today was one of those days where I woke up. I'm just so excited about where we are heading as far as our space program. And today I get to talk about kind of that fictional world that often inspires these people to explore beyond. And we're gonna be talking about Star Wars. So I'm like I say, today was one of those awesome, super awesome days for me.
Oh, that's great. Did they fly out of Florida then?
No, this one actually takes off from This group takes off from West Texas.
Okay.
So that's where their base of operations is. I think at the end of the month we'll have another commercial launched here in the Florida area. I was just watching on YouTube. So the SpaceX tends to take off from here in Florida. This is Blue. See, you're gonna catch me with another thing. I want to say Blue Origin. Blue something. Maybe somebody in the comments will remind me of the name. Oh, hey, we've got a new subscriber. Hey, Zach, living the magic.
Thanks,
welcome.
Zach. Thanks for joining us.
So, as always, this is Omega Monday, but it's Tuesday. But we'll still talk about Omega and the adventures of Bad Batch. This week's episode took us back to the planet of Ryloth.
Yeah, so it's kind of part 2 of last week's episode, Devil's Deal, and this one was called Rescue on Ryloth, which is the home planet of the Twi'leks species, and we saw more of the adventures of Hera Syndulla and her parents, Cham and Eleni, I think are her mother and father's names.
I think that's it.
And we got to see what happens when the Bad Batch comes and tries to rescue them at the behest of Omega, who got a call via hologram from Hera.
Yeah, one of the kind of the story elements that was kind of added in this particular episode is this Captain Hauser seems to be another clone who isn't in total allegiance with the Empire. He seems to have a soft spot for Hera. We see him help out the Bad Batch when they are seemingly entering a trap. He kind of gives them a heads up that leads to the success of this operation to save her parents. Where do you have any ideas on where we might see that storyline head, Mike?
People are making a big deal out of this because it demonstrates that the clones can be reasoned with and make their own choices, even if they still have the chip. Because these guys still have the inhibitor chips or whatever in their brains. They haven't been removed, but that guy Hauser was able to talk some of his clone troopers out of following orders, which is basically what the inhibitor chip does, makes you follow orders no matter what they are. So it's pretty interesting, and I think, I don't know how much we want to talk about what's coming up, but there is an episode title coming up in the next few weeks. I don't know if we should say it. I didn't know. So this would be venturing into spoiler territory for me because I'm unaware as well. Oh, do you want to just skip it then?
Let me see. No. Let's go ahead. We've warned you. If you don't want to be spoiled, turn away for a bit. But
I want to say it's like 2 or 3 episodes from now. I don't think 2 weeks from now. It's called War Mantle, and Operation War Mantle is the replacement of the clones by the stormtroopers. So I think that's going to happen before the season ends. It was first referenced in Rogue One when Jyn Erso is going through all those secret projects on the planet Scarif at the Imperial. It was like a data facility or whatever.
Right.
And they've referenced it since on the Bad Batch, and now it looks like that's going to happen. So I think the idea that the clones are able to mutiny, basically, or become what Crosshair called traitors,
Mm-hmm.
without the removal of the chips, I think that's going to be the first domino to fall in the replacement of the clones by the stormtroopers. Now, my big question is, like, what happens to most of the clones after they're replaced? Because we don't see a lot of them later on in the timeline. There's some of them in Star Wars Rebels.
Right.
We saw Captain Rex and some of his friends show up there, and we know Rex survives to Return of the Jedi and stuff. But where did all the rest of the clones go? I think that's my big question. Is like, what's going to happen there?
That is an interesting kind of hole in the storyline that'll have to be dealt with as we move forward. I think the other element in play with this particular story was that at the end, when the Bad Batch are successful in getting, in the rescue and then escaping, we see an exchange between Rampart and Crosshair. We can see that he is now, this is now going to be a goal of his, that he is now in some ways like personally embarrassed by this performance of the Bad Batch, and he wants to see them halted, and Crosshair seeks permission to, in essence, hunt them down, and it is granted.
Yeah. I do think it's also interesting that, we were talking a few weeks ago about when Crosshair got like blasted by that ion energy, whether that would affect his chip or anything, and it doesn't seem to have affected anything. But then, like, I saw somebody also suggesting that maybe even after Crosshair gets his chip removed, if that happens, that he might choose to stay allied with the Empire, which I think would be interesting as well, and kind of tying into this overall theme of like the clones having their own free will outside of the chips.
Yeah, I'm like heart sad to see them seemingly losing a brother even more, right? It seems like he's venturing even farther into that dark side, and I was very much hoping that blast was in essence going to be a bit of a reset, but it does not appear to be so at this time. So we'll see what the future holds for the Bad Batch. I'm still very much enjoying this series, and eagerly anticipate the episodes, especially these last two. They've really set me up with anticipation of what's coming next.
Yeah, and people have pointed out other stuff too, like the assassination attempt we talked about last week, that they really clarified in this episode that Senator Orton Freetaw did not die, that he's recovering from the attempt. And then we haven't really talked about Hera much, but she got to like fly the ship a bit, so she's kind of like taken that step in that direction of becoming the pilot that we saw in Star Wars Rebels. And we saw some more stuff with Chopper, obviously being Chopper and executing, maybe not killing all those troopers, but at least knocking them unconscious, right?
Yeah, I always love it when a droid is helpful in the mission. That is a favorite of mine. As Zach says, there's still a few loose ends here. We were wondering what will be happening with Hauser after his clear crossing the line as to the becoming a clear traitor in the eyes of his peers. And then maybe, just maybe, we're looking at a double agent. I don't think so. We don't seem to be getting any hints of that, but I still hope. A little part of my heart still hopes.
Well, there's 4 episodes left in the season, so I think a lot's going to start happening in the next few.
And as if Bad Batch wasn't giving us enough adventure and excitement. Over in the Marvel comic universe, they continue to have this amazing crossover event, and I know Mike has some more to talk about when it comes to War of the Bounty Hunters.
Yeah, so this is issue number 2 of the main War of the Bounty Hunters comic series, and this one actually showed everybody arriving at this big auction that the not Black Sun, but Crimson Dawn crime syndicate is holding, with Kira, Han Solo's old girlfriend, at the head of Crimson Dawn, and basically everybody that got invited to the auction showed up, and there was some conflict involved with that. The Hutts are there, obviously the bounty hunters are there. Luke Skywalker is on his way there, but Leia, Lando, and Chewbacca are there, and then Darth Vader shows up at the end, and this scene shows Boba Fett and Bossk having a bit of a showdown outside, because Jabba the Hutt has put a price on Boba Fett's head because Boba Fett didn't show up with the Han Solo frozen in carbonite that he was supposed to bring to Jabba's palace. So now Bossk is trying to collect that bounty there. But Boba Fett ends up getting out of that and sneaking his way into the auction by stealing somebody's ticket and then coming in disguise and meeting Dr. Aphra, who's also there. So it's like everybody has converged on this one location at the same time. That's kind of what this issue was about. And then also this week there was a new issue of Dr. Aphra that takes place at the same time, and we see the auction from Dr. Aphra's perspective. But I actually thought it crossed over a little bit too much in this issue, because there was at least 4 or 5 pages where they just repeated a lot of the same dialogue that we saw in the War of the Bounty Hunters comic book. So I thought that was
that's interesting.
Unnecessary, especially I feel like if you're reading one, you're probably reading the other one. So I thought it was odd that they chose to do that much. I could see it crossing over. You could overlap it a little bit, but they really spent a lot of time repeating the same dialogue. But I did at the beginning here, we saw Aphra's observation on who's who at this party, at this auction. So she kind of ran down all the different factions that were there. So I liked that, seeing that from her perspective. And then at the end of the Dr. Aphra issue, we saw she starts having these flashbacks to her time working for Darth Vader, because when Vader shows up, she starts having this panic attack because he's tried to kill her on multiple occasions at this point.
Oh, wow.
And she's just worried, if Vader spots me, what's going to happen? And at the very end, the last panel is Vader does notice her because she's freaking out, basically. So that's the cliffhanger ending, is what's going to happen between Vader and Aphra.
And as Zach points out, yep, PTSD from the encounter with Vader.
Yeah, at the end of that first run of the Darth Vader comic book, Darth Vader actually shuts Dr. Aphra in an airlock and releases her out into space, and she's only survives because those two droids, the two evil droids, the droids that are usually evil, BT-1 and 000, they actually saved her from space, and then they ended up manipulating her in their own way later on. But yeah, they have a very complicated history that we're gonna find out how that pays off in next month's issues.
Zach doesn't think he will care about the Doctor, that he cares about fighting and killing Luke.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is that both Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader are about to be in the same place again too. So I bet that's gonna be a factor in what we see in next month's War of the Bounty Hunters.
And do you happen to know about this query of Zach's? He says he doesn't believe that she's ever actually met a clone. Is that something that you can address?
Well, that's kind of an interesting moment, because Boba Fett approaches Dr. Aphra for help in the auction, and her reaction to that is, "You must be one of the clones who fought in the Clone War," because she's a historian in the Star Wars universe, and she's watched I think she calls it the holovids or something of the Battle of Coruscant, and she recognized the voice because it's a clone. Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett, as were all the clones fighting in the Clone War. So she thought Boba Fett was one of the clone troopers. Of course, he's not. He's the quote unquote son of Jango Fett, but they're all same genetic material. Anyway, that was her reaction. She said that she hadn't met one before. That's correct, but she did know what they sound like.
Okay. Well, I think we'll move on to the novel publishing arm of the Star Wars empire currently, and right now they are sharing with us a lot of what they're calling the Essential Classics.
Essential Legends collection.
Thank you. The Essential Legends. And this is the Timothy Zahn introduction of Thrawn and Heir to the Empire. I had a chance to read this novel and write a little bit about that experience for Laughing Place. This is a trilogy that, I'll be honest, sat for years on my shelf collecting dust. I purchased it with all the intent of reading it. I'd get a little bit into it. I didn't ever quite just get sucked totally into it. And so they would sit there mocking me on my shelf with other titles that I did read. Yeah. And with Laughing Place, they asked me, "Hey, Mike said I've read it a couple of times. Why don't you give it a try?"
I've probably read that book 3 or 4 times in the 30 years since it came out. So I was like, well, why don't you tackle this one, Rebecca, and tell me what you think. So what did you think overall?
I enjoyed the book in that I found that he does a really great job of capturing what I expect of Leia, Han, the characters I'm already familiar with. They feel familiar. The way he writes them, they don't feel different. They feel like a continuation of the characters I knew. So I was really appreciative of that. Thrawn is terrifying, and it's like Moriarty for me. Just really, I wouldn't want to have to go up against. I'm interested to see where it carries me. I was very surprised and a bit perturbed with just how cliffhanger-ish this novel concludes. It almost feels as if Princess Leia is within mid-sentence when the storyline concludes, and Admiral Akbar is in a threatened position. And so that was surprising to me that they didn't. It wasn't kind of like the way that series of films had ended. Right, New Hope ends beautifully, but right. A New Hope. But there's a continuation of it, but it isn't, kind of like cliffhangery. Right. Empire maybe left you a little bit more that way because what happened to Han, but yet you still didn't feel like you were kind of just mid-moment. This particular book just really felt mid-moment to me with the end pages reuniting of our main characters kind of all in the same location, and here's this problem we have to resolve. It's like, and then the book's over. So, but there's so many characters in it, Mike, that I know they have brought Thrawn to. We've heard Thrawn's name dropped now within other series, so it seems like they want to bring that character back into a canon.
Oh, well, he's already definitely because he's been in Star Wars Rebels and he's been in a number of novels in the current canon now. So he is definitely part of the current canon. He hasn't appeared in live action yet, which is kind of like the big deal of him getting mentioned in The Mandalorian. And we kind of assume that Thrawn's going to be the antagonist of the Ahsoka series when that happens on Disney+.
So I'm very excited to see them further explore him. There's a couple of other characters that are introduced in this novel that I would love to see brought back. Mara Jade is a very interesting character. My understanding is there's more to her storyline that I will enjoy even more, or maybe not enjoy. I don't know, but we'll see. But she intrigues me. This interplay between her and Luke intrigues me. So I'm interested in that as well. There's a bit of a rogue, and his name is escaping me. She works with him. Is it Card?
Talon Card, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I enjoyed him this may be mostly due to I listened to a lot of his portions on audiobook. I went back and forth between audiobook and Kindle, and the voice talent that they gave him had a very Ricardo Montalban uh, uh, quality to his
Yeah.
voice. So kind of that con, uh, trigger, or Mr. O'Rourke kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That guy, the audiobook narrator, Mark Thompson, he does that all the time. He'll just pick like a celebrity and do an impression. Because if there's a character in the book that doesn't have an actor already, he'll just, like in some of the Thrawn novels, there's a character that he just uses like Ian McKellen's voice.
Okay.
I'm just like, okay, well, he's just cast that role as Ian McKellen, basically,
Yeah.
you know. So I thought that was funny, but
But
yeah,
I totally bought it, because that was how so for me, instantly, like all that baggage, I guess you could say, of what I kind of expect Talon Card to be, kind
right.
of flooded, because I just envisioned kind of that pompous, assured rogue, which is exactly what that character exposed himself to be throughout the rest of the story. But just like I say, by those opening vocals, that was kind of already where I was going with the character.
Yeah, and then I feel like if people had to vote, if people were able to vote on another Legends character to be brought into the current canon, I think probably Mara Jade would be at the top of that list.
I've heard her name quite a bit. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if the Heir to the Empire reintroduction in this way as essential Legends will be indicative of maybe a little bit more for her.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, we still don't know a lot about what Luke was up to between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. There have been a few stories here and there with the Rise of Kylo Ren and the Shattered Empire in the comics and stuff, but there's still plenty of years in there that haven't been fleshed out. So I feel like if Mara Jade might know Luke Skywalker in the current canon, they could still squeeze it in there if they wanted to.
Zach compares her to Black Widow. I have little Marvel knowledge, so this comparison doesn't work for me. But I'm sure it'll. What do you think? Would you agree that she has a Black Widow-esque?
Sure. Well, she's kind of the Emperor's hand in the Zahn trilogy, and then I don't want to say what happens to her later, but yeah, it follows a similar path.
It was fun to meet a character who's like ticked off that you got rid of her boss. Seriously, like, I was in a good place, dude. What were you? You messed up my you messed up my job. I knew who I was. You like ruined my whole world. So it's just really funny to have like that point of view regarding what to me is still the ultimate evil, and I'm still mad he came back. So you got to explore a different novel.
Yeah, speaking of evil, I read also in the Essential Legends collection, Star Wars Darth Bane Path of Destruction. It's book 1 of the Darth Bane trilogy by Drew Karpyshyn, who started out as a video game writer, and he wrote the Knights of the Old Republic games and the Old Republic MMORPG. And then I think in between all that stuff, Lucasfilm Publishing brought him in to write books set in that same era, in the Old Republic era. And this book is, I described it as the opposite of the hero's journey. It's just about what happens when you're a force sensitive or force talented youth, and instead of following the path of the light, you follow the path of the dark. And I thought that was a really interesting premise, and I liked it quite a bit. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well written.
Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Yes, and as Zach Taft says, this is the book is really about Darth Bane following in the footsteps of Darth Revan, who was the protagonist of Knights of the Old Republic. This book takes place, I think, like 2,000 years later or something, but still thousands of years before the original trilogy. And he's rediscovering Darth Revan's teachings. One of which is there's only supposed to be one Sith master and one Sith apprentice. So at this point in the timeline, the Sith are plentiful. There's like a whole Sith army led by, I think, dozens, if not hundreds, of Sith acolytes and masters and warriors and stuff like that. And by the end of this novel, Darth Bane is just like, no, there should be only two. And his plan it becomes I'm going to wipe out everybody but me and one other that I'm going to take as my apprentice. And then I know the second book is called Rule of Two, which, this kind of ends with him. Well, I don't want to say too much, but if you haven't read it, yeah, I recommend it. I really enjoyed it. And this is a book, the whole trilogy of Darth Bane, I skipped over entirely. It came out in 2006. I was less into Star Wars then than I am now, although I was much into it before. Before the prequel trilogy, I was really into it. After the prequel trilogy, my interest waned a bit, and then now I'm probably more into it than I ever have been. But I really enjoyed this novel, and it really made me appreciate that Old Republic era quite a bit again, even though I loved the video games. And I'm looking forward to reading the rest of this. And I actually want to go back then and read the Star Wars Darth Revan novel that was also written by Drew Karpyshyn, because I'm sure that's got to be great as well. I think it's I think this Essential Legends collection is a wonderful idea, and I really appreciate that they're doing this, and that it ended up being part of my job to read these books, because I probably would never have read them otherwise.
Yeah, no, and I hope us talking about them is, letting others know who maybe are like us and have seen these titles, and kind of maybe it didn't catch them in a period in time like you're talking about. We have periods of time where our life focus will kind of come and go, and perhaps these were more popular or receiving kind of larger pushes during a time when you didn't notice them, but based on my reading of the Zahn Heir to the Empire and what I know about where that series went, I would say please be sure and check it out. And it sounds like you're saying likewise with this Darth Bane collection.
Yeah, and then the Essential Legends collection is continuing in just a couple months. I think Phase 2 comes out with parts 2 and 3 of what you read, the Timothy Zahn trilogy, part 2 of the Darth Bane trilogy, and then Rogue Squadron by Michael Stackpole, who I think I've read parts of that. Like, I think that was one of those books, like you said, you had bought the Zahn trilogy and you had it on your shelf. I think that's what happened with me with the Rogue Squadron stuff, because I bought them. I have like the first 4 or 5 books on my shelf, and I've never read them. So hopefully, if they send me the Essential Legends collection, or even if they don't, I can honestly read the version that's on my shelf.
Right? Finally.
So, yeah, but I'm looking forward to that too. Especially, considering the Rogue Squadron movie is on its way.
And there were so many novels and whatnot happening there were so many novels that came out kind of after this, after the Zahn books. It's nice to see that I'm in a way kind of curate and offer us select titles and kind of spotlight maybe the ones that will be the most appealing. I don't want to say the cream, because that implies the lesser of the others, but it's sometimes it can be overwhelming when you've left a fandom for a while and then you come back into it. The amount to catch up in some ways can just be overwhelming because the explosion of content, and it's nice to have these kind of spotlighted titles with the Essential Legends series. Let's see. Next, we are venturing back into the world of live action, where we've got some great news about the Mandalorian Season 2 finale.
I'm super excited about this. So if you've watched the Disney Gallery, the Mandalorian series, it's a behind-the-scenes documentary series on Disney+. They did a whole season of this for the first season of The Mandalorian, and then for Season 2, they did one episode that covered all of Season 2, and that covered a little bit of the season finale of Season 2, but they never even mentioned that Luke showed up at the end of the season finale of season 2. But I guess they were saving it because now we're getting an entire new episode of the Disney Gallery behind the scenes series that's only going to be about that season finale, second season finale of The Mandalorian, and it looks like they're going to focus on Luke and Mark Hamill popping up in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's an hour long. It's pretty much an hour long episode that's going to focus on how this season 2 finale came about, and that's going to be happening on August 25th. I'm really excited because there's been a lot of fun speculation and talk about how that particular episode came to be. I'm sure there was so much secrecy involved. I'm hope that they share with us some of the maybe spy game like maneuvering that they had to do in order to keep that secret, because I still can't believe they pulled it off. That is one of those things where I am still shocked that there wasn't way more hint that was on the horizon as far as Mark Hamill's appearance.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hoping, considering that special comes out about a month from now, I'm hoping that it is in conjunction with some kind of news about season 3 of The Mandalorian, you know?
That would be good. Yeah, no, that would be, that the timing would seem right. So yeah, I would hope that it is used to kind of, pep rally, rah, and here's the information that you need. Yeah, I like it when they do that 1-2 punch, that's for sure. Continuing with Mark Hamill news, he is an Emmy winner for his role on Elena of Avalor. He portrayed the antagonist, the villainous Vuli, I think is how you say it. I missed that episode, I'll admit, for Coronation Day. But this tweet from Awards Watch, I thought I'd share a little image of the role he played. But Mark Hamill took a daytime Emmy for that role. And Clone Wars also received an Emmy in regards to some of its sound and the special, what I call the special effects side of things. So
yeah.
Exciting.
That's cool. Yeah, and obviously Lucasfilm is known for pioneering sound design and visual effects at the same time. So not a huge surprise or not a huge upset, but definitely well worth, definitely deserved.
Yep. And Laughing Place has gathered.
I want to point. I want to.
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I apologize.
No, go ahead.
I want to address a comment. Zach has been commenting, and I feel bad that we're ignoring him. But I wanted to say, tying into what we were saying earlier, Darth Bane, the character that is the I guess the protagonist of the Darth Bane trilogy, he had a cameo appearance as like a Force ghost or a spirit, I think coming out of a holocron or something on Clone Wars, and was voiced by Mark Hamill on the Clone Wars. So yeah, he is accurate. Zach is accurate in saying Mark Hamill has voiced the Joker, obviously in Batman the Animated Series, Darth Bane in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and the Fire Lord in Avatar The Last Airbender. So he does a lot of good villain work. Very, very accurate.
And I will quickly respond to that. Yes, I do. I do think we will get booked.
There's a book called Star Wars A New Dawn, which is about, it's like a prequel to Rebels, and it's about Kanan. I haven't read that one, but it's about Kanan. I want to say it touches on some of the other crew members from Rebels as well, prior to the beginning of that series. So if that's what you're looking for, that already exists, but maybe we'll get some more Rebel stuff too.
I think we'll get more. I think we'll see with these various live action series that are coming. I think we'll see, even just here with Bad Batch, this reintroduction of Hera, kind of a different period of Hera's life. It would not surprise me if we didn't see that spun off within a novelization or even like a graphic novel type thing, especially given what I see as really positive response to this period, being exposed to this period of Hera's story.
Also, I feel like with all these live action series coming up, there's plenty of opportunity for Hera to make her live action debut as well, because she could be in the Cassian Andor series. she's in the rebellion at that period. She could be in the Ahsoka series
Okay.
because she's buddies with Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? She might even show up in Obi-Wan. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? I'm excited. And since we're talking about Hera and her recent appearance on Bad Batch, I guess now's a good time to showcase Laughing Places highlighting various Bad Batch T-shirts that have arrived over at Shop Disney. These are mostly kids' shirts. This was the one that caught my eye in particular, Mike. It's the Bad Batch team. You've got Hunter, Echo, Tech, Wrecker, Crosshair, and Omega. And
that is interesting,
right?
that they put the villain on there. Yeah, they would that those 6 people were never on the same team together. So
Not yet.
not yet. Spoilers. I don't know.
And then you got Omega and her bow on this shirt. We've got a typical.
Oh, sorry. I saw that Indiana Jones. The Indiana Jones.
The Indiana Jones limited
Magic
edition
Band.
Magic Man.
That's pretty nice. Is that something that I probably missed already?
I don't believe so. No, I think that just popped up today or maybe yesterday. I think it's still there. Here, I'll click and let you know live for everybody.
I don't know a lot about magic bands. I have one that they gave me at a media event in Florida for Finding Nemo, but
Magic bands are awesome when you're in Disney World. You put it on your little wrist, and then just look. Yeah. It's even got like symbols on the wristband, Mike.
Is that the opposite side then? Okay.
Yeah.
So is this something that you have to buy on Shop Disney, or could you get this at the parks?
I do not know if this is for sale currently in the parks. Jeremiah would know that. He visits the parks more frequently than I do. Okay. But sometimes they have ones that are this doesn't, let me put it this way. It doesn't say online exclusive, it does say limited release.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that you could find it in the parks. But
all right, because I'll be in Orlando in a few weeks, and I might look for it.
Yeah, they're fun. Magic bands are fun. We've also, back to Bad Batch, we've got Strapping Kid. By the way, that's Lucasfilm, so it's not, off topic. It works.
Oh, yeah.
The strap-in kid with the Bad Batch 99. And once again, you've got the entire Bad Batch and Omega.
Yeah, that is interesting, huh?
Yeah, see?
I wonder if they jumped the gun. Like, I wonder if they know something we don't, and they're just like, oh, this is supposed to come out after the season's over or something. I don't know.
Or maybe they just were, Bad Batch and Omega and just didn't give it a second thought. Just threw the Bad Batch and Omega on a t-shirt. So you don't know. And then we've got Clone Force 99 Bad Batch. This is my least favorite of the designs. I'll admit it. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah. Doesn't do anything for me either. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm like, it's okay. Yeah, I wouldn't just jump on that one. The other ones, that one I really liked was with the names and that battle worn metal and the kind of the scoring on it. That I thought was cool. Over in the world of collectible vehicles, you can add some Star Wars Hot Wheels to your collection.
And this one, it's like a green Darth Vader because Darth Vader was green on the first issue cover for the original
that's why.
Marvel Star Wars comic book from 1977.
I was so perplexed why we had a very like Joker Riddler, a very Riddler green for Star, but that makes sense. I in fact own that comic, so I should. Oh,
nice. Yeah, this idea is a little too esoteric even for me. So
yeah, but
occasionally they'll do like action figures and stuff that's based on like the way characters look in some of the Ralph McQuarrie art or something. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I don't know. I just want them to look like Wedge Antilles here. I just want them to look like they do in the movie.
I feel like, right? See, Wedge Antilles right there.
Yeah.
It should look like that. I feel like this one, they needed to have shot it from over top. Like, I need more of an aerial view to really understand the visual they were going for. Zach pointing out that maybe this will be a redemption story like what we got with Vader and Anakin.
Could be.
Oh, and Doobie wants to make sure you understand that magic bands don't actually do magic.
What about magic markers?
What is magic about a magic marker?
I don't know.
The question that I've had roaming around my head forever. Lego.
The Republic gunship from the Clone Wars era and the prequel trilogy is getting a Ultimate Collector Series Lego set. Not something that I would buy. I don't really collect prequel stuff, but it does look very cool. I like that I think it's roughly minifigure scale, which is great. And the Ultimate Collector Series don't usually do that. The Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon is roughly minifigure scale as well, which I really like about it. And this one seems to be too, so that's pretty cool. I think people who like the prequels more than I do are going to be really into this.
And it comes with a Mace Windu figure, along with a clone trooper, I believe, right? Or is that that's a clone trooper. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
then our article here at Laughing Place has a link to the design team, so you can learn more about how this particular gunship came to be. Also from the world of Lego, coming in September, the Advent calendar that's celebrating season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I may have to pick this up. I like what I see already, and it's always got some fun surprises in there too. So I just like the collection of minifigures that you get, and you get a nice little Grogu in the Christmas sweater type thing, and Din Djarin's wearing his like nice wintertime scarf there. Plus, you can't go wrong with more Stormtroopers, Tusken Raiders, Scout Troopers, and another assassin droid there.
And it also includes a few what I call like micro mini ships, X-wing, TIE fighter.
And you got Grogu's little hover pram too.
Yeah, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the notion of the Advent calendar, it's 24 little toys that help, you count those 24 days there. So while this set has 300 pieces each day leading up to Christmas, which is December 25th, you have a little toy that you open. Usually the way it is, it's a little box, and you open up the toy, and it's inside the little box, and it comes out, and then you've got 24 little toys by the time you reach Christmas Day, and it's just a way to count out to December 25th. So lots of fun. This, like I say, this one's about they say 300 pieces, and that'll break out into 24 different little items. Whether one day it might be a minifig, the next day it might be one of these what I call mini ships, the TIE Fighter or X-wing.
So. I want to address this question of what ship will Mando have since the Razor Crest is blowed up, but good. I like the way that was phrased.
Good.
It's a good question. I don't think we really know the answer to that yet, but we'll find out. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm eager to discover what's ahead for Mando and crew. And like Mike says, maybe this August episode where they're going to talk to us about that season 2 finale. Maybe, just maybe, they'll finally give us some more information about when we'll see Din Djarin and the rest of the team return. Mike, I think I've got everything on the list. I closed out where my list was. So did I miss anything that I can you think of anything? Because I'm pretty sure I got it all.
To the best of my recollection, we covered it all. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it too. But I wasn't sure there's something you were like, wait, she forgot. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and highlight Mike's podcast, Who's the Boss?
Yeah. So we continued our 50th anniversary Lucasfilm retrospective on Who's the Boss, talking about the 1988 Francis Ford Coppola biopic, Tucker, the Man in His Dream, starring Jeff Bridges. It's a good movie. I like this movie quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. It's a bit of history that I didn't really know about before I saw the film. It's about the auto industry, and it's just really entertaining. A period piece. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't seen it, and now I will probably need to check it out. It is not a title. I have to admit, it's not a title I'm familiar with very, very much at all.
Yeah, it kind of flew under the radar. I think. I don't think it really made much money when it came out, but I think it's a solid film. And Jeff Bridges is just so charming as the lead. And it's got a great
That's what. No,
cast.
when you mentioned Jeff Bridges, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
maybe I need to check that out. Oh,
you can't go
Doobie,
wrong.
my husband Doobie says he's seen it.
There you go.
So yeah,
To be seal of approval.
yep. So,
So yeah, there. I mean, it's about this guy who wanted to start this car manufacturing company that kind of revolution. It was supposed to revolutionize the auto industry. They were the first people to like start putting seatbelts in cars and stuff, and had all sorts of different advancements like that. But the all the big auto manufacturers like came down on them and tried to prevent them from going forward, and they got in trouble with the government and stuff. So it's about that whole, yeah, windshield wipers and headlights with windshield wipers. Yeah, exactly. It's fun times.
and another Lucas product. So
Yes.
like continuing that study of the Lucasfilms 50 years, which seems amazing to me. But there we go.
Yeah.
Let's see, Mike. Do you have any live stuff coming to LP YouTube this week? I don't think so. I think
This weekend's going to be Comic-Con at home, which is
okay.
very sad to me. I was really hoping this time last year. I was like, I can't wait for next year. We're going to be back at San Diego for Comic-Con. And here we are again. It's Comic-Con at home. It's kind of a downer, but I'm gonna be there covering it anyway. And by there I mean here. At my laptop.
Right.
So there's a bunch of panels that I've been assigned to. One of them is the Star Wars: The High Republic panel, which I know for a fact is going to have some announcements coming out of it. So
Well, that's
that will
exciting.
be exciting, yes.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, stay tuned to Laughing Place for Mike's coverage of Comic-Con at home. Tomorrow here, we will be having our Marvel time as always. Tonight's usual trivia night will not be happening, but be sure to join us on Saturday night for more Disney trivia live here at Laughing Place. All kinds of reviews and recaps happening here. Earlier today, we were live at the Polynesian. There's lots of news coming out of the Walt Disney World Resort right now. More information about Citricos, the new Polynesian Resort hotel rooms. These are all things that currently our staff is compiling and publishing over on laughingplace.com. So be sure to follow us on Twitter. Visit the website. There's a notification available on the website. And if you want to be notified when we go live here with various discussion programming and other types of Disney-related content, like and subscribe to this stream as well. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all soon here on the Laughing Place YouTube channel. Bye for now.